Hey, everybody. It's a little bit early. It's an hour earlier than when I normally go on, but I'm going to go ahead and get started for two reasons. For one, I'm headed home to pick my nephew up. He has his first football game tonight at 7, and it is 5 o'clock, and I have to have him there by 6, so I'm moving. So I know by the time I get him and get him to the field, I won't be able to get on and do this. Please go, sir. Please go, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I won't be able to get on and have our camper conversations. So, and it doesn't matter. It's okay because I'm going to post this and it'll be up all week until next Friday. So, obvious, I'm not in the camper. And I know this is camper conversations, but I just gave you guys the reason why I'm moving. I'm in the truck. I'm in my truck. I'm headed home to pick up my nephew. So this is going to be a quick one. It may take me about 15, 20 minutes to get to the house. So I'm going to go until I get to the house. All right. So I always like to start off. Look, I hope you guys had a great week. I had a wonderful, wonderful week. It ended in Jamaica. It started in Jamaica. It actually, the week before, it ended in Jamaica. So I hope you guys caught my camper conversation via the beach in Jamaica. Got back on Tuesday, um, and so that means my week ended great and it started great. And then I had a really good week. I had a pretty good week. Had to get back and get on some things. School started out here. But anyway, let me get started because we don't have a lot of time tonight. But I thank you guys for those who don't get to tune in when I go live. I thank you all for um, going on and watching the videos. When I go on and I click on the insights, where it shows the traffic on a certain post, there are lots and lots of views on the videos once I do post them. So you guys are still partaking and getting involved. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So the subject for this evening's quick camper conversation is, I always take a post that's been on the page, um, usually posted during the week, right? Uh, Let me stop. Let me say this. I am not a relationship expert. I do not claim to be a relationship expert. I am just a black woman in this world, living this life and doing the damn thing and enjoying it. Okay? All right, let's get going. So, the post that it was posted 3 days ago on the page in the group, and it says, "Worst thing you can do when you find a special woman, get comfortable and start treating her like she's regular." Worst thing you can do when you find a woman, a special woman, is get comfortable and start treating her like she's regular. Now, y'all know me, everything goes both ways. Not everything, but most things when it comes to how you treat one another goes both ways. So I'm going to read this again in a different way. Worst thing you can do when you find a special man, get comfortable, is get comfortable and start treating him like he's regular. The worst thing you can do when you find a special man is get comfortable and start treating him regular. So it goes both ways, right? Goes both ways. So I have a requirement when I'm dating someone, and so should they have the same requirement of me. I have expectations, and we all have expectations, and my expectations I hold very high, and those things are necessary for me to remain in a relationship. Again, so should they have expectations of me. One expectation that I have is to continue to treat me the way you did when you got me. Continue to treat me the way you did when you got me. Now, I understand life happens, things happen, ups and downs, and you're not always that wonderful, bubbly person that you put on to be when you got with somebody, when you met them. Because when we meet people, we give them our representative. Now, when I say representative, and I talked about this before, it does not mean your representative is not who you are or something fake. But when you go to an interview, Um, when you start a new job, all of those things, you want to put your best foot forward first, right? You want to put your best foot forward first. Nothing wrong with that. So when you meet someone, you typically meet their representative, unless you're kind of in a situation where, um, it's not even about that. Like you happen to meet somebody and you're not even thinking about a relationship or anything, but y'all just click and y'all vibe, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, y'all in a relationship, right? So while you're representing and showing your best self, it's just another side of you. That's all. So when you do that and a person treats you a certain way, then your expectation should be to get their best because you're giving them your best, right? So when you're in a relationship with someone and you're growing and you get to know them and you get to know the ugly side of them as well as the wonderful side of them, and you think that gives you the right to start treating them in a different way just because the representative of them that you see now is not the best, you start treating them different. You start treating them like they're regular. You start treating them like nothing they did before mattered. I think, I think, and feel like that is the most selfish and the most, I love narcissistic word. I love that word narcissistic. And not that I love it because it's a positive thing, but it explains so much. It explains so much for me with my previous relationship. When I started understanding what narcissistic attitude or person or personality meant, it gave me some understanding of why my ex acted the way he did. Had nothing to do with me. That's your issue. That's your problem. And I see it like that, and I've always seen it like that. When you're doing something that's deep rooted in you and something that causes you to mistreat people and act a certain way, that's your problem. It's not their problem, unless of course they've done something to you directly. Okay, so anyway, um, when you're dealing with someone, just because you don't get their best all the time doesn't mean that you have the right or should start treating them differently and treating them poorly and acting like everything they did previously, everything they did leading up to where you are, has no bearing on anything. I think it's so unfair and selfish for people to do that. So my thing is, my expectation, my rule for myself is how a brother gets me is how I expect him to keep me. If we going on dates all the time and we doing things, I expect when the relationship gets old and it gets older, we still do those things. We still do those special things that made us want to be together and gave us the reasoning to make a decision to make a commitment. If we are, and men tend to have this complaint, um, and this is early on in marriage or whatever, men tend to have this complaint. Like when we first got married, or even when we was dating, we was having sex all the time. Like we was doing it anywhere and everywhere and all the time. But after we got married and things started getting comfortable, then she stopped. She always had an issue. She always had a problem. Please believe women have that issue and problem as well. It's just not a male dominated issue. But men tend to have more of that complaint than women do. So, ladies, if you're giving it to the brother on a regular when you're dating and when you first get married, give it to the brother on a regular 5 months down the line, 6 months down the line, a year down the line. Now, I know relationships take turns and different things happen, and you may not feel like doing those things that you were doing before. But you have to remember what you did to get that person is what attracted them, is what pulled them, is what made them, excuse me, want to have you in their life in the first place. So when we change and we do that flip, and then we have that person, we expect that person to be who they were from the beginning, that is unfair. That's an unfair expectation. So, and this is on the opposite side. This is not talking about the person who flipped. This is talking about the person who does the flipping. Let's look at it like that. Okay. So again, worst thing you can do when you find a special man or woman is get comfortable and start treating her like she's regular. So years ago, I got a nickname, Donna Average Not. Donna Average Not. And that came from so many different points. Not so many, a few different points. Because there's some things that I did different. There's some things that I did and wouldn't do that other women were doing. And the person that gave me the nickname was like, I've never met a woman quite like you. Now, mind you, people say stuff like that all the time. Words are words. Words are words. It's your actions that dictate what your words really mean. So, I've never met a person like you. You're not average. And he started calling me Donna Average Not. And that kind of stuck with me. And when people heard that, or they used to be my Facebook name, Donna Average Not. They used to be until Facebook had all these rules and made you change to your proper name. Um, but so many people were reading and be like, okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. So how I was in my relationships going into them, I feel like that if I expect in return that, I should be that. I should be that. If I'm being very sexual, and I'm giving that time and attention, I'm going to continue to do that. I mean, because that's what I want anyway for myself. But what I'm saying is, we have to make sure that we don't lose the people that are special to us because we get relaxed and we get comfortable and we start acting common and we try to and we act like what they need and what they needed from the beginning is no longer important. When you lose that for your significant other, for that special person, then you have to question, what were my motives in the first place? Did I really want to be with this person? Did they really move me like that? Was it emotions that were moving me? Or was it more of, I'm finding something solid in this person? So, y'all know I'm very transparent. I don't have a problem with talking about um, personal issues that have happened. Because my thing is, there's nothing new under the sun. Things that have happened with me have happened with someone else. Or you may see something happening in that direction and you want to avoid it. And that's what we're here for, to give each other advice and to help each other to not necessarily hit our heads on the same rock that that person did. So, when I got into my last relationship, he was a different person than he was when the relationship ended. And I'm sure I made some changes as well because, truth be told, it's a relationship that should not have gone to the level that it did. It should have remained a friendship. That's the real of it. It should have remained a friendship. Should have never gone beyond the friendship level. Now, was it a true friendship? No. I realize now when I understand it, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a true friendship. We had known each other for 7 years, but we never really dug in deep to each other, personal things and things like that. And you don't necessarily supposed to and have to do that. There were things about me that he did not need to know as a friend. But until you put someone in that special circle, in that special place, then yeah. But there were things that were being done, things that were being said, and there were things that I required and I needed and I wanted that I never got, that I never got. But they were words of promise, and I trusted and believed what was being said. So I'm going to say this for me. And everybody, of course, has a high um, opinion of themselves. I have a high opinion of myself, but I also know that I'm not easy. I've had some past life experiences that have put me in a certain mindset and put me in a place where my trust level is kind of low or whatever. So when I allowed this brother to come in, trust and believe, I was open to it. I may not have 100% been on board with some things, but I was open to it. So that allowed him to come in. So when someone comes in your life and they tell you this and they tell you that and they tell you this and they tell you that, then you expect that. I expect that. I expect it. And I get things happen. Finances, health, I get that. But that's why we have to take the time to really be sure and know what we're getting into when we come into someone's life. Because it is selfish and unfair to do one thing one way and decide, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. Or, oh, they don't look as good as I thought they did. Or they don't act a certain way like I thought they did. And then just flip and change and go another direction. So if I'm giving my man time and attention, if I have a certain day that it's just me and him and we hang out and we do something special, even if my girls come to town or whatever, we're gonna have that discussion. Hey babe, my girls are in town. I know we usually go to the movies on Tuesday. Um, but do you mind if we switch and we go on Wednesday? I almost got rear-ended, y'all. Woo, thank you, Jesus. Do you mind if we switch and we go on Wednesday? Then you have those discussions because what you're doing is you're considering that person. You're still letting them know, I consider you, I consider what we have as special, and I remember you come first, and then let them make the decision if that's okay or not. And usually, 9 times out of 10, if you come like that and you make a habit of considering them and being that way, they're going to be okay with it. But you have to build that rapport. You have to build that type of relationship. You have to build that type of understanding and show that you care beyond anything else about their well being and their emotions and their feelings. Worst thing you can do when you find a special woman or man is get comfortable and start treating him or her like they're regular. Like they're regular. No one wants to be treated like they're regular from someone who said, I love you. No one wants to be treated regular for someone who says, I want to be with you. I want to spend time with you. I want us to grow. No one wants to be treated regular. And I don't know of anything honestly, that a person can do outside of being emotionally, physically, or mentally abusive that would cause a breakdown, such a breakdown in a relationship that would end it. That's not saying you won't get angry. That's not saying you won't lose your temper sometimes. But it's saying you have to learn to be in control of your emotions. And you can't take one or two incidences and think that that's the overall of the person. Because if you've gotten to know that person, if you understand the makeup of them and why they operate like they do, and what part of you can help that, then you don't just start treating them regular. So set a standard for yourself. When you get into a relationship, before you even get to the point of saying, "Hey, let's do this and let's do that. Let's be committed to one another." Make sure the person understands your love language. Make sure the person understands what you need. And then on the flip side, understand their love language and understand what they need. If you are not willing, if you are not willing to do the for better or worse, don't come up to that broom. Don't ask that question. Don't get on that one knee. Don't answer yes to that question. Don't get caught in the emotion of it and get into a relationship that's going to be more of a hindrance to you and more of an emotional breakdown for you than it is going to be good for you. So we have to understand it's important to treat people the way we want to be treated. And when that doesn't always happen, let's sit back and look at why it's not happening. Let's go into talking about why it's not happening, and let's be there. Carbon King, hey there. Thank you for your words of wisdom. Now I have to apply it. Yes, Carbon. Um, Thank you for that comment. Applying it sometimes can be hard because I know I wasn't the perfect spouse all the time, but this is the thing. I'm not expected to be the perfect spouse all the time. I didn't expect him to be the perfect spouse all the time. But what I did expect is for him to take the imperfections and understand where they come from because he clearly understood where they came from. He made a choice to ask me to be his wife, knowing where they came from. He made a choice to do that. And the promise was, and the expectation was, we're going to work through those issues. Counseling is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. I big up counseling all the time. I say it all the time. Whether it's personal counseling or whether it's premarital counseling or whether it's marital counseling after you've gotten married, counseling is a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful tool used in the right form in the right way. So get some counseling. Figure out what the problem is, what the issue is, and work through that thing. Because there was something about that person that made you say, I love you. I want to be with this person. I want to spend time with this person. I need this person in my life. There's something that said that. Again, if it doesn't come to a point where you got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which I did, I married Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I did. But that was then. This is now. Life is such, and it goes on. So, and we learn to um, think about things. I thought about why that happened and how that happened and the motives behind it happening. And I sleep very, very well at night, guys, because I take responsibility and accountability for the things that I do. And everybody doesn't feel and think that way, and that's just their opinion. But at the end of the day, you have to answer to yourself, and you have to look at yourself in the mirror and know what you did was the right thing to the best of your ability. Okay? So, one more time, I'm going to read it because I'm at the house and we got to run. It's 5:30. Worst thing you can do when you find a special man or a woman is get comfortable and start treating him or her like they're regular. I'm not regular. So if a brother's not ready to treat me like Donna Average not and understand me and get into the depths of me and know who I am and how I work and how I move and why, and me the same for him, then we're not going that route. We're not doing it. We're not getting into a relationship. We're going to remain friends or we're going to walk away from that situation and let life resume in the happy place that it is. And just know it's not always going to be happy. I started to loathe, hate that statement, y'all. Get back to happy. And I love the point of getting back to happy. It was just how it was done, getting back to happy, that just bugged me to death. That's bugged me to death. You can't do stuff and then say you gotta get back to happy without addressing why it happened and why you weren't happy in the first place. Because relationships end that way. And it did. It end that way. You hit it on the head. Accountability and discipline. So, 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 so much accountability. So, so, so much discipline. Carvin, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being on here and giving your comments. I hate that I have to run, but I gotta go. Gotta get this young man to his first game. I don't want him to be late. Coach looking at him cross-eyed, looking at me cross-eyed. So I love y'all. Y'all have a great, great weekend. And I'll probably go live a little bit with the game and let y'all see my superstar. He was like, Auntie, don't go live if I'm on the bench. I don't want to see no TikToks with me sitting like this. I was cracking up. All right, I love y'all. Have a great weekend. Carbon, thanks. Next time.